trained the men myself. They will not miss.
What do you got there?
Sealed orders from Sixth Fleet. We're not wasting any time, sir.
This was a script that you have certain stories that you have for a while. Some of them you never make, some of them come back, and some of them just keep haunting you.
Captain, you should hear this.
I first heard about Hunter Killer while we were shooting London Has Fallen. I'd spoken to Jerry about the project, and he had mentioned it was this very cool, thrilling project he was involved with, and I thought it sounded like a really intriguing story.
Captain, enemy torpedoes still active and closing.
Nav, report to bearing at Tampa Bay. We're gonna run straight at her.
Tampa Bay, sir.
If I have to say everything twice, we're not gonna make it. Report to bearing.
This was a long time ago. Then I thought, this is a movie that is begging to be made and to reinvent, recreate the submarine genre as well, which I hadn't seen one of those for a while.
And when I tell you, pull up with everything.
There had been, a big span of time where the project lied dormant, but Jerry remained attached.
But it just didn't seem relevant at that point because there's nothing really going on with Russia. This is the US and a conflict with Russia. So you weren't feeling connected enough.
Because of what the political scope and what politics can project, you could think of a certain nation or people as your enemy, and they may not be your enemy. They may just, live in that country.
Look, nobody's following the playbook. We don't know what's going on up top. The only people who might have a clue are down there on that ocean floor.
Yeah, Russians, sir.
And because of the politicians are at war, it automatically puts us in opposition.
But then in the last couple of years, with everything that's been going on, suddenly we couldn't make it fast enough.
We've been through 4 or 5 directors, and each one of them had their own twist they wanted to place on it. So some things changed there. There's some characters added, some characters went away. But by and large, it stayed pretty close to the submarine part. The SEAL part seemed to have stayed pretty close to what I wrote.
The story's the same, but we've just tried to make it more authentic, more timely, more relevant, and as the politics of the world have changed in that amount of time, we've tried to update the script so it feels very of the moment.
Awfully close to Russian waters.
Yes, sir. They've been playing cat and mouse with the Russian sub for weeks.
Let's just hope that's all it is.
And around the time, it was back in 2013, when it really wasn't makeable because it wasn't relevant enough, I actually had a dream. And I'm all about insights, dreams, epiphanies, and I had this dream that I was on a naval base, and I couldn't quite tell if I was making the movie or I was just living on a naval base, but it was the most incredible dream that I felt so connected to everybody. When I woke up, I went to the producer at the time, Ryan Kavanagh, and I said, we must make this movie. I tell you, it's my destiny to make this film. So I couldn't let it go.
It does have a voice for this time, like as much as it's a well-written film and action, and it's going to be a thriller for us, it's suspenseful, but it's also speaking to those issues and those themes.
Sir, Tampa Bay's gone missing in the Barents Sea. We picked up a distress signal above the Kola Peninsula.
That's Russia's back porch.
And the fortunate thing was we'd been able to develop it over all these years. We'd always working on it and updating it and just making it tighter and better. So when this most recent of geopolitical situations arose, we were like, we're ready, let's go. Now a submarine movie is very relevant, timely.
I suddenly realized when I read it, I haven't seen a movie like this for a long time. And it made me want to see the movie.
So we went in search of a director.
And my agent sends me a lot of scripts. Most of them I ignore, but occasionally a great script comes my way, and this was one of those great scripts. And honestly, it was the best war thriller script I've ever read, and I get sent quite a number of those because that's kind of my niche.
There's a lot of story to tell, and it's very, very powerful, but it has to be streamlined and focused and interesting and show as much character you can through what basically is a lot of plot. And I thought that he did that brilliantly. So alive, he tells the drama.
We've been down here our whole careers, toe to toe. We're not enemies, we're brothers.
And then it's a process, so you meet all the individuals, and there are 9 producers, so there's a lot of that going on.
We saw a lot of people, some well-known, some not known at all. And we found a director we really like, Donovan Marsh.
Then, of course, you have to meet the star. So I had to have a dinner with Gerard Butler.
From the second I met him, and we met here in Soho House, and we were talking, and it was an interesting start. I learned a bit about myself in this because this script is very precious to me. I had it for a long time, so over the years I've met many directors for this movie. What are you going to tell me that's so great? What are you going to do?
I've got to pitch my ideas, I've got to tell them how I'm going to shoot it, who I want to cast, how I want it to look and feel.
And he says, "What do you think about this movie?" He says to me, "What do you think? Like, why are you doing this?" And it was really a kind of an assault on my ego, basically. I'm like, why is he asking me? I want to know. And then I realized that's exactly what it was. I was just like uncomfortable. I felt challenged intellectually. And he wasn't challenging me. That's just who he is. He's a very intelligent guy who loves to talk things out.
And we got on really well, and everything went great.
You know, one of the stories of my career is things that I've done beyond what was necessary, that, for instance, that got me 300 when I called Alan Horn, the head of Warner Brothers, and said, "This is my movie, you know that, I'm doing this," right? And he said, "Come in and speak to me," and I went in and ended up getting the role. And that's what Donovan did. He wrote me a letter after that to say, "I don't know if you got my passion. I don't know if you realize how much I want to do this movie." And even I didn't realize the power that can have over somebody, because I read it and I went, wow, I love what he's saying here. And that's what I needed to see. And he said he said it so beautifully.
There's no sign of passage, Captain.
There's no way through.
We're gonna run straight into a wall. Captain, we have to reverse engines.
So if you can't take it, confine yourself.
Well, I think the essence of any great thriller is you can't predict what's going to happen next. And I often find, and this is no insult to the movies that are out there, but I often find that thrillers are quite predictable, or certainly action films anyway. And especially when you get to the third act, you got to know exactly what's going to happen. The hero's going to win, this is going to go down. And in this script, I was genuinely thrilled all the way through. I genuinely didn't know what was going to happen next.
I think one of the things that I love so much about what he said about the movie is he thinks of it as a thriller, which I don't know that all people think of their sort of submarine war movies that way, but I think it truly is. And that kind of tension, I think, is something wonderful that he can bring, and I love the way that I see him moving the camera around.
Missile's been fired from Polyarny.
What the hell's he doing?
Launch detection, 30 seconds.
We're very excited to find a newer filmmaker, a younger filmmaker, who could bring a different shooting style and a different sensibility to the world of the military and to the movie itself.
We've got a lot of very technical things, some very dry speak in that room, so it's nice to have some interesting visual things happening around us.
Basically, he designed a dynamic so that we're always in motion while we're on the submarine. Same with the Pentagon and the War Room, which is very helpful.
He's very organized and seems to know what he wants. He's a very nice man. I've enjoyed it.
I mean, we had a phenomenal cast of really talented actors. I mean, we got Gary Oldman, who's one of my favorite actors.
Gary is a legend for me. I grew up on Gary Oldman, you could say. He was the guy we all looked to when I was at drama school and trying to be an actor.
Isn't it true to say that we are witnessing the most aggressive military buildup in Russian history? It's not a time to pussy around.
It's a relief not to be speaking actual Russian, but in this respect, I'm not a bad guy in this one. I'm on the side of the Americans.
And you should know we have special operators en route to determine Zakharin's intentions.
Admiral Fisk, I don't think I need to explain to a war hero such as yourself, but when someone is shooting at you, you know their intention.
So when I got the opportunity to actually work with him, I know I was the envy of everybody who knew me. But it was a dream come true to work with literally one of my idols, really. And he was fantastic.
There was classified systems on that boat.
And 110 men, sir.
Of course. Well, you want to go quick, but you want to go armed. Fast attack submarine.
I told Sixth Fleet you want a hunter killer.
Yeah, I didn't know much about Common. I knew him more from his music. I knew he'd won an Oscar for the film about Martin Luther King. So he has amazing music pedigree. And he knows he's not an actor, principally, that he's a singer. So he comes with a real open mind.
He's passionate about it. He's passionate. I find him to be very passionate about the work and really caring and really just wanting to make sure that that we deliver.
And it was really great because you really get to collaborate with a person like that while at the same time teaching them the craft, while at the same time sort of appreciating their innate talent and trying to bring that innate talent through onto the screen.
He communicates that in different ways. He'll come show it to you. At the same time, he'll sometimes just give you a direction that says, hey, I want it with more strength.
So it was a wonderful collaboration.
Admiral Fisk, I'm briefing the president in under an hour, and you Navy boys are not sharing.
I work for the chairman of Joint Chiefs, not the NSA, Miss Norquist. Or are we on a first-name basis now?
It's sort of very different from anything else I'd ever done, and the idea of being in the war room with Gary Oldman in common seemed like fun, and I was right.
Linda, from our first rehearsal, was very natural, very talented. I love getting to work with people that are talented and that care, and you know, she just came and brought it.
2282.5 megahertz. The NSA has a few satellite frequencies that we don't normally share. We're all on the same team here, right?
Yeah.
One of the most exciting things I think about being an actor now is to be able to work with people who are so wonderful at what they do.
What the hell is that?
Where's the Russian fleet are moving into position?
They're responding to our movements.
We're leading them into the fight.
I mean, actually, I suppose it's like 3 different films because you got the stuff in the Pentagon, you got the stuff on the sub, and you got our storyline. But each are totally independent of the other. I mean, they're obviously involved with one another, interlinked, but they're sort of independent as well. So it's like making your own little movie.
Waiting for our orders.
Execute him.
And Toby Stevens, who, again, fantastic actor who plays the lead Navy SEAL. And knows I love the Navy SEALs. I mean, Michael Trucco and Ryan McPartlin, Zane Holtz. They bring all the great action to the movie, and the humor and the fun and just the badassery, the kind of stuff I normally do, you know, that I had to hand it over, which was tough, but they did a great job.
Joe Glass.
Bill Beeman.
So you're the lunatic saved the Russian president.
You're the crazy son of a bitch who weaved this tin can through a minefield.
Be a long debriefing.
Yeah.
I had one scene with Jerry, which was a great pity because I'm a huge fan. I would have loved to have done more with him, but literally the last scene of the movie was one of the first scenes I did because of the way that, you know, these things are like jigsaw puzzles. And that was done at Pinewood Studios. So like literally one of the first scenes I did was the last one. And I kind of now go, I wish I'd done all of this stuff before I'd done that scene because it now totally informs me.
Toby just has this, you know, kind of grit about him, this almost sardonic take on life, not as a real person, but certainly as the character.
Listen, he is a wonderful actor, and he'll bring a great likability to what is a very tough, hard-nosed kind of character.
You have all the claustrophobia of being on that submarine underneath and all of that stuff, but at the same time you have all of the excitement of what we're doing. So you have the two kind of things of being on that sub and the kind of hermetic nature of that, and then also the big wide open spaces of us doing what we're doing.
I felt really blessed to be in the submarine because I got to work with Michael Nyqvist, who's definitely my top 5 favorite actors.
I'm Commander Glass of USS Arkansas.
You feel instantly if someone trusts you or not. And Jerry did that with me, which means that I had a lot of freedom with my character in our meetings. And he has a very open way to act, which I really, really like.
It's a more heroic moment if it's a private thing. What do you think?
The other thing is that we could then cut to the boat going away.
But even in loving his work, I didn't know what I was going to get in terms of just him as a person, him and his experimentation and his playfulness and how much he could give you in a single moment.
We went after, it wasn't like an audition process. We thought, we all know Michael Nyqvist from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo to all, to other great Hollywood movies.
We're no different, you and I.
I learned so much from him, both as an actor in his childlike quality to just try anything and be so brave, and him is in how he how I saw the young cast in that sub be inspired by him, because he was already, you know, he's been around for a while, but yet he was so charming, and you could see he loved the work and he had time for everybody.
I have to go to work.
Me too.
My captain and Jerry's captain, we're just a sudden we're in the same situation. And I have to help him, and he has to help me.
I can't think of any Capitan that could have done what you have done. On my side or yours. I can. I'm looking at him.
And that's what I think is the film is a lot about, to trust someone.
He brings so much heart to the film, in a way that character is the heart of the film. And he has such vulnerability in his eyes that you just really feel for him. And I think the scenes, the sort of simple scenes between him and Gerard Butler are some of the most beautiful in the film.
I risked my men. I risked my ship. I used to court martial. Because it was the right thing to do.
And so it really took me back. So you have a fascinating idea of these guys in a submarine trying to work out what the hell is going on. Everybody having different ideas about what that means. Those that distrust and always want to go into conflict, and those that try and think outside of the box and in a different way and see, are there other ways to solve these disputes.
Yeah. He's leading us into a dead end, Captain. Look at the chart.
Your chart is wrong. There's passage.
Last man down, hatch secured.
Captain in control.
Officer of the deck, submerge the ship.
Submerge the ship, aye, Captain. 15-degree down bubble, all ahead full, make it depth 300 feet.
Aye, sir. You know, a big part of my pitch was authenticity, and I think these days viewers demand much more reality in their media content. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's reality television, or I think it takes more for people to invest emotionally in something. They've got to feel like A, this is real and authentic, and B, that this is a situation that could really occur.
It blows my mind every time I think about what goes on, how many systems there are, how many machines, engineering, how everything is shoved into this small space, and how many uses everything has.
As a director, you want to move the audience, and in order to move the audience, I felt the movie had to be absolutely authentic and real, and I wanted the interior of our submarine to look exactly like a real nuclear submarine. I wanted people to talk in the way that they do talk on board those submarines, and for the commands to be issued exactly like they would be.
There's the butt to in, and then there's the boom. All right.
Like, literally, is this roof going to cave in on us? Is there water going to, like, is the whole world about?
The whole fucking world going to crash around you.
Okay, don't but same cues.
We're always about making it authentic, but at the same time so that the audience can understand. But when you're in a situation and you realize that something's about to go down and you shout battle station, XO's on the phone, battle stations, launch countermeasures, did it, and all these orders get called out, and the whole ship is basically chanting and suddenly moving in this beautiful flow, and the energy comes from nothing.
100 feet! Terminal homing, Captain!
Right full runner now!
It's a very powerful experience. It looks great when you see it together, but it felt really great when you were in there as well.
He was like a little kid in a candy store, knowing some of his past films like 300 and London Has Fallen. You can see that he's got that that rogue approach to winning the fight.
Get ready to dive fast and hard.
They're firing! Torpedoes in the water! Launch evasion devices, dive! 60-degree down bubble!
60-degree down bubble, aye, sir.
And his acknowledgement of going to sea on our submarine and seeing how we act as a team and just really discovering how talented and smart those people are was really a discovery for him, and he was very impressed.
And I think he was very attracted to the authenticity of working with the Navy. Jerry spent a lot of time with the real Navy.
Well, I did. I spent a lot of time with many different individuals from the Navy. We had somebody on set, Russell Coons, who was on set the whole time, and for a year before in the prep for the movie.
Not an Annapolis man who learned who you are in a class. I've worked your jobs, manned the sonar, and the bull nuke, I've cleaned torpedo tubes. If you think I know you better than your previous officers, you're right.
I also went to Pearl Harbor for 5 days and spent 3 days out on a submarine underway.
We had a trip planned to go and see the submarine and see the base and see all of the nomenclature that would play in the film and have it explained and, you know, a show and tell with the Navy.
We've taken the director and some of the lead talent to Hawaii and actually taken them on board a real Virginia-class submarine.
They invited the director and Jerry and the two producers to go on a 3-day voyage that was already planned. It wasn't for us. And the other producer and I did not want to go 3 days in a submarine. You know, the 1 day was enough, you know. I think you have to be cut out for that, you know.
They took us out to sea for maneuvers and actually reenacted all the scenes from the film in the submarine and took us and fired fake torpedoes and did all that stuff.
The computers, the information, it was mind-blowing. And how many things are going wrong on the submarine?
We put them in the damage control trainers and turned them on and got them wet while they had to figure out how to fight.
We're sitting ducks.
And fix the ship.
You always think one thing goes wrong, the thing's going to sink. There's a million things going wrong that are constantly have to be fixed. There's like 10 leaks happening at the same time that are all like, yeah, there's a leak over there, but we'll fix that. Then there are serious leaks that you have to deal with, you know, and that's another thing that we did a lot of drilling.
And then we sent a subject matter expert here to London to work with all of the cast on their lines, on their roles, on how they would actually work in a simulator and how that would actually be taken at sea and being a part of how the Navy operates.
You're about 2 stars short of clearance for what I'm about to tell you.
I've been trying to get the NSA to authorize an op, and they've been dragging their feet. And now everything is moving way too fast. If this was an act of aggression, we need to know what Sakharine is doing there.
If you want to fly a drone in the Russian airspace, the Air Force would be happy.
No, not from 60,000 feet. Yeah, and there's a lot I didn't really understand about submarines and being on a submarine, and you sort of take for granted that you know what that must be like, but it's very involved and very confining, and you're very removed from the outside world.
The Arkansas, sir, she's alive.
They've surfaced right next to Yevchenko.
What the hell is that captain doing?
Yeah, Russell really knows his stuff. It's a very technical kind of movie, so it's absolute necessity to have someone here who's been on submarines and on ships and knows the protocol. So he's invaluable. You need someone like that around.
From my first conversation with him, it was really getting into the mentality of being an officer in the Navy.
Normally in our business, in the officer ranks, it could take 25 to 30 years to attain that rank.
I got a rear admiral without enough sense to get out of the rain.
Sir, we've got a shootout under the ice. 3 subs down, 2 Russian, 1 American.
You would leave your family many times to go into war zones or contingency zones, and you would move your family approximately every 2.5 to 3 years. And so that creates a culture where military families are accustomed to that environment. All of that has to kind of be resident in the character arc that's being created for Fisk.
We have a team outside the base at Pagliarni and a submarine off the coast. The pieces are in place for a rescue in exfil. I know the men involved. If we could deliver Sakharine to Moscow, he could cut this off.
You respect that, but you gain a new respect when you learn certain things about people. I mean, I'd say that for any character that I take on. I gain a new respect for them because, you know, you learn what people go through.
And then the key ingredient is great characters. You know, characters that you can care about within this environment and that you can believe are doing these things and that this could really happen. It's often what I said to people. You've got to believe this could really happen. And if it really happened, what would be the outcome or what could be the outcome? And any good thriller just ticks all those boxes.